It's been running through my head all day. I drink your milkshake. Hello, everybody. This is going to be a fun, positive, energetic midnight run. I know it's been a while. I've been really busy. I got my bud Anthony from Six Scale Mafia joining in. Say hello to the folks, Anthony.
Hello, everyone. It's midnight, man. It's late.
We are going to have we're gonna have some fun. How difficult is it to get you up this committed to a midnight run? I think you've never done one of these with me before. This is going to be a unique experience.
It's been at least 7-8 months of links, and I'm dead asleep. But no, I was like, let's do it. So I see some familiar faces in the chat too, so that's cool, man.
Oh,
cool.
Everybody, folks are having trouble sleeping. It's a Friday night. I think a lot of us were kind of expecting a weekend Hot Toys drop, but no, it's clear up the background here. It's going to be a little bit quiet for the next couple of days, probably until Monday, which will be Sunday for us. Folks, you guys know the rules. Let's address the chat, starting from midnight. Let's see if you kids out there know the rules. 16 Fix, finally catching one live, checking in from California. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for joining. Jokes aside, there will be blood. Phenomenal. I love that film. I love it. Phenomenal. Braden from Sydney, Australia. Inart bad Hot Toys #1. Well, hey, we're not. Come on, Braden. Calm down, right? We're not going to start pointing fingers this soon, right? Yeah. Doc Smizzle, what are you doing up, man? What's going on? I need to rewatch that movie tomorrow. Texas. Reslamos. Hello, everyone from Blazing Hot, Fort Worth, Texas. You guys are on Central Time, so it's 2 a.m, right? Maybe. Raising, maybe. Kind of. Hello, there you go. Oh, a couple of your regulars. Evangelium says hello to Mafia. What's up? That's right, Louise. Louise Libetz, where are you in the world, planet Earth? I need you to check in. Can you do that for me? I don't think I've ever seen your name before here. There you go. Darren Parnham, London, 8 a.m. I feel honored that me and Anthony here, we get to spend your morning, right? Is it tea, crumpets, crackers? I always assume it's cornflakes, but I don't think you kids out there do cornflakes. By the way, I was in London 2 weeks ago. Awesome city. Portland, first live midnight run. Newbie, welcome. Ibrahim Mustafa. There you go.
My first too.
There you go. That's the first. There you go. We're breaking the cherries tonight. Refreshing afternoon from Korea at 4 p.m. Thank you, Christian. Thank you for joining. Glad to catch the midnight run. There we go. Look at that. Absolute Erwin. I think I've seen you before. There we go. What do we got here from Greece? Oh, a newbie. Anthony. Hello, Danoby and Anthony. Checking in from 10 a.m. from Thessaloniki City, Greece. I'm honored. Wow. I don't think I've ever had anybody from Greece before. That's cool. 9 a.m. from Germany. Hello. Cole? Maybe? What do you think, Anthony? I don't know. Cole?
Cole, yeah.
As a stupid stereotypical American, I want to go to Germany. The problem is that the reason I want to go to Germany, it's for that reason. So hopefully once I get that Call of Duty mentality out of my head, I think I can find myself visiting Germany. But the problem is I know once I go out there, I'm going to get in trouble, and I know how sensitive it is out there.
I wanted to do that. There's a tour that you can do that goes across Europe on buses. It's like 3 weeks, takes you all over all these historical World War II sites and stuff. And I just never got around to it, but I've always wanted to.
I need to. You know what? That's probably better for me. If I'm left out there alone, roaming alone, I would probably get in trouble.
You got to be on a tour bus.
Yeah.
Supervised.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Ruben Guerrero. Hello, guys. Watching from Costa Rica. Very nice. Thank you. Stephen Harvey. Thank you, 8:03 a.m. from England. Jonathan, thank you, sir, for joining in from Pomo. No, I just suck tonight. Pomona, California. Help me out here, Anthony. Come on now. This is, I mean, you're from Cali,
Pomona.
right? Aren't you?
No, I'm in Arizona.
Oh,
I'm in the
I know
desert.
you're from Arizona. I thought you came from Cali to get away.
No, I came from Chicago.
Oh, Chicago. Oh, there you go.
South side. Grew up there.
The Windy City. Scorching hot Saturday here in the Arabian Gulf, two of my favorite. Primox, thank you so much, sir. Thank you. Appreciate it. We got a bit coming in, boy. They're coming in. Thank you. J Rod, thank you. Cali reporting. Thank you so much, sir. Ryan's Horizon, 5 p.m. in Sydney, where button batteries are an endangered species. I still don't understand that. I mean, we're gonna have to build some sort of underground train. We're gonna have to smuggle them in.
It's like those old ATM jet tubes that you'd send your money in. It just
we're gonna have to strap the little button cell batteries on our chest going through and try to avoid the beagles sniffing. Cool. Young Swid, Miami, 3 a.m. Thank you, sir. Thank you for joining. God, there's a lot of folks up from the East Coast there. Thank you. West Side, thank you. All right. And Ash, what's up, everybody? Let's talk. So we are somewhat in the eve of the Hot Toys Summer Showcase. Most of you who follow me on Instagram, I 100% greatly appreciate the updates because I'm not on Facebook. I don't really care to be on Facebook. It's kind of trashy and so forth. But I do enjoy the updates. I do enjoy the stuff that you folks feel that I miss through other social media channels. You tend to share with me. So I want to extend that gratitude. Stuff that was leaked out, Hot Toys just decided to just let the cat out of the bag. I'm going to start out with the one that has been addressed to me multiple times, and this is something I've actually been talked with Anthony behind the scenes. Let's go ahead and let's bring this bad boy here. This is the Vulture. This is the second time, and I'm assuming that this is going to be in San Diego. And for those of you who are not aware, the San Diego Comic-Con, the dates are it's next week Wednesday. This next Wednesday is preview night. Thursday is the official day. It's the 20th, right? Or the 21st. I'll be there. So. Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, it runs from Wednesday's preview night, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then typically Sunday is the kids event. So I'll be there for Thursday and Friday. So if you do see me, please reach out and say hello. I'm starting off with that because I'm assuming we're going to see this. I'm assuming this is going to be a legitimate pre-order delivery. This was teased a couple months ago, right, Anthony? Right?
Yes, twice this year.
Yeah, it's been teased a couple times. There's been debates amongst the social media channels whether or not this will actually enter pre-order. At this point, I'm 100% assuming this is going to enter the pre-order stage. The question now is the time and I guess the fund, the actual amount of what this thing is going to charge. For those of you who, and I think I've shared this before, so I had originally pre-ordered the Iron Scavenger through Jazz Inc. It was my second pre-order. My first pre-order was the Justice Mobile, and due to the experience I had owning the Justice Mobile, while I was still doing payments on the Iron Scavenger, I ended up just canceling it. I'm like, you know what? I felt it just wasn't worth. I felt it wasn't worth the risk, the experience I had with the Justice Mobile. So I made a preemptive move, and it did cost me the non-refundable deposit. I mean, they did keep $50, but I felt in the long run it was well worth it. And at this time, and then at the time when I had canceled my Jazz Inc. pre-order with the Iron Scavenger, I had no assumptions or even an inkling of a thought that Hot Toys would deliver this, they would ever make that. So it's something that I had a bad feeling that just happened to work out in my favor. Anthony, did you ever before this whole Vulture War situation started, did you ever plan on getting the Iron Scavenger through Jazz Inc? Was that ever on your radar at the time?
Half and half, but ultimately no. Only because, you know, I was kind of getting out of Spider-Man's, and I saw it and I appreciated, you know, what it was at the time. I was like, oh, that's neat. It's, you know, it's a 6 scale figure. It's a Vulture. It's a huge wingspan. Looks neat. And then, you know, upon, you know, people getting it, reviewing it, talking about it, it's, you know, it's cool for what it is, but it's more of almost statuesque, right? You know, I don't think the hands, maybe people correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think the hands come off. I think it's very statuish almost, right? So
it is, yeah. It kind of is. I mean,
yeah,
you could even probably compare it to like a power pose, but I sense quite a bit of articulation just looking at this photo.
Yeah. So, well, yeah. Now, fast forwarding to here, it's funny because you now have 3 third-party Vultures essentially.
Yeah.
And now you have a official Hot Toys one that I'm pretty sure is coming, because if there's 3 opportunities to buy, you know, 3 separate third-party versions, Hot Toys is not going to sit and lose money over that, especially when they, I believe, was it 2017, 2018, they showcased it at San Diego initially.
Yeah. It was the last year, 2019. Yeah. What was it? Yeah. Or
I get confused because the whole pandemic and everything's
yeah,
a blur,
yeah.
you know, like,
well, yeah, I want to. Yeah, you know, it's probably 2018. It probably was. Yeah. Yeah. It was
I
one
mean,
of those
Homecoming came out 2017.
So it probably was
I
a 2018.
think.
Yeah. I thought yeah. But it at that point though, once the whole pandemic had happened, it really did affect the whole mentality of collecting. And then 2020 brought us that big time span of dormancy. There were things that were just not being released. Hot Toys was still announcing pre-orders. This is one of those pieces that most of us, and you know, up until that point in time, based on my experience with collecting Hot Toys since 2012, I had assumed that they were never going to make this. This was something that had disappeared and stuff.
I think partly is kind of what you just talking about, is that, you know, at the time, okay, so the pandemic hits and there's this huge boom of collectors now. So with that, now they're seeing this surge of third party, because remember, for third party figures have been around, but they're like really cranking out like a lot of figures. So in that respect, I think now that there was a huge surge of collectors, then Hot Toys is starting looking like that. Like some stuff they would tease, yeah, maybe we'll do it. Now they're seeing all these people, and now these companies are making the product. They're like, well, wait a minute. Okay, times are a little bit different during this. We got a huge influx of collectors now. Let's do it. We're going to do it. We're going to get the money for this. Why not? He's not wrong.
Thanks, Carlos, for the super chat. I figured you'd get a kick out of that.
Hell yeah.
No, and this is one of the This is one of those things where you're probably one of the few YouTubers where our algorithms tend to line up, and this is the Hot Toys 2.0 version company, because I still don't recognize this the way it's being managed, the way that they're dumping tons of pre-orders. This is very new to me. All I have is my experience dealing with Hot Toys since I've been collecting, and up until 2020, I had somewhat of an idea of how to curate my collection, how to not tap myself out and still collect within reason. But this is one of those situations where I did not see.
We can't predict anymore.
Yeah, there was just something that I just couldn't predict. I didn't see it. I'm stoked. I think it was a good call on Hot Toys. This brings value to the existing Rogues gallery of Spider-Man. It adds this adds value to Doc Ock, as Doc Ock would add value to the Vulture. Green Goblin.
Yes, it's all Spider-Man's villains. I mean,
It's all of Spider-Man's villains. And this is one of those situations where I feel the pain in the community. I totally get it. Where most of us are trying to stick to one IP. They're really trying to stick to Star Wars. And history's not going to be kind. Missing out on some of this stuff. And granted, this is still early. This hasn't even, but missing out on certain Spider-Man villains. I don't know. I don't know how if you're a past Spider-Man collector, and this is something I've picked on you before too, because I know you've kind of exited out
sold
of
them all.
Marvel. Yeah. But you've also said too, though, that once Doc Ock and Green Goblin start dropping next year, things could clearly change.
Yeah, they can.
Yeah.
If I wanted to make what you bring up is interesting, because it's under the, if I understand it correctly, it's under the pretense that you are not you, but the collector is a hardcore lifelong collector, right? And there are people such as ourselves this way, but there's another type of collector that we know about that will buy something because it's kind of neat or it's trendy at the time, and then they sell it later, right? And that's a rinse and repeat year after year, or until they just decide that this is not the hobby that they want. So as a long-term collector, I agree with you. Like, this is a great time for Spider-Man. You're getting all these villains. This is awesome. And it could be a very long time, if ever, that they come back again.
Look at that.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
That's incredible. That's extremely incredible. So I've been one to preach. I probably have been preaching for the last 6 months. When it comes to Hot Toys and day one pre-orders, don't paint yourself into a corner. Don't day one pre-order unless you know that you can handle the financial burden, or being able to climb out of a corner that they've painted yourselves into. You don't want to paint yourself into a corner. We're still trending above 130 pre-orders. It's bonkers. It's like when they release one, 2 more pre-orders get announced. It's at this point, it's extremely dangerous to I mean, and I think this is something that I've seen the community kind of just get throttled. I'm like, yeah, we're not going to do this anymore. We're not going to day one pre-order this. And how the algorithm now moving forward will change. If it's going to produce smaller batches? Is it still going to be larger batches? My guess is that moving forward, as of March 1st, we're going to be encountering small batches. But when I use the word small batches, though, small batch to Hot Toys can mean something radically different to a third-party company, or even the company that you tend to represent to, Anthony, Exo-6, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, a large batch for Exo-6 could be 5,000 units. That could be a small batch to Hot Toys.
Yeah, well, because they're I mean, globally, have so many these massive licenses right now, with Star Wars and Disney and DC, to a lesser extent. But yeah, a small batch for them could be equivalent to a large batch, right? Like, so it's like it's but I agree with that. Like, and sometimes, the way I'm looking at it lately too is that, perfect example, that I love original trilogy more than anything, and right now I do not have Snowspeeder Luke, and he's available, but I'm not in, and I am getting him, but I'm at a point now, I think maybe we all are, but at least for my purchasing decisions, I'm at a point now where I'm just going to wait, because I know that he will be cheaper elsewhere, and the prices are, everything's going up. So I'm just trying to be a little bit smarter, with my collection, my purchasing decisions. I don't need to rush. I don't pre-order, unless it's something, exclusive and very limited, which is super rare. So it's too hard for me, because you're right. Like, a lot of things come out and people don't forget, and they get into the hype of the day of, and then look, and I said this on my streams, that, next year, the two bark speeders are going to drop, the Clone Wars bark speeders that are 600 a pop.
Yeah.
And right on the tail end, right before those were announced, was Cad Bane and a couple other figures. So those are all going to kind of drop. People don't think about that. Like, what happens in a year and a half after announcements?
Yeah.
Well, we're going to get hit with like all of this. And then what happens if something else comes out during the year and a half that you didn't expect, like a cool vehicle Kickstarter or something, or, so I don't want to have my money tied up and then all of a sudden I'm getting bombarded with all these bills. That's not fun as a collector.
It's not. And what's interesting too is that, I mean, that was something that I was saying from January and February. I'm like, look, like right now, when I built my Google spreadsheet with all my pre-orders, my goal was to shrink it, to minimize it. I want to be able to have that freedom because, like you said, we're getting surprise hits with HasLabs and crowdfundings and Kickstarters and things like that, and collectors, even new collectors are joining. They know, like, based off of history and just the Razor Crest, the HasLab Razor Crest. I mean, that they made 28,000 units on that, was backed, and that still is trending extremely high on the secondary resale market. It's things like that, and
to be fair, it's come down a bit, but it's still higher than retail.
It's still high. It's still double. Yeah. It's still double than the $300 that it.
Like 5 to 6, 550, 650. So yeah, it's double, which is good. I mean, the initial peak was like 800, but that was immediate. Like, oh, it's out, it's fresh, and you don't have it. So this is what we're going to charge if you want it. And but you're right. That's the type of stuff that a lot of people don't anticipate.
Mm-hmm. And even though the Razor now there are other campaigns where it's blowing up. I'll give you Unicron. They only made 12,000 units of those. I've seen that bad boy still trending over 2K brand new. That only requires $600 back in. So Unicron, things like that. The Tomy Enterprise, big trekkers here. We're keeping an eye on that one. The whole Tomy Enterprise back in. I'm backing a few of those. The G.I. Joe Hiss, which is trending out there.
Oh, it's doubled. It's
doubled already. And don't get discouraged. I mean, that's part of their 6-inch lineup there for the figures. I mean, there's just a lot of stuff. So that's the whole idea. Last year, we all thought it was cute and fun to collect pre-orders, and it's not. It's a completely different environment. And that's one of the beautiful things is that I've seen the community change. I've tried to warn the community. I've tried to tell everybody. I go, the math isn't adding up. It's not.
I've had people message me, multiple people. So I'm not going to say any names, but multiple people have messaged me. They say, "Hey, Anthony, I have $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 in pre-orders. Like, what should I do?" And I'm like, well, holy crap. Maybe try to get some of your NRDs back and tone that down a little, because if you're coming to me and saying, oh gosh, look at this, I can't imagine what, because I'm not in control of your finances. So I can't imagine how you're feeling. I'm sure you're pretty stressed out if you're reaching out to ask for advice on it. It's like, again, collecting should be fun. We want to try to mitigate as much stress as we can from this hobby, right? We have this hobby as an escape. We got enough stress everywhere else.
We got enough stress. Something else too, and collectors now are learning from their mistakes in falling for the hype early on, getting caught up with the excitement. And this is something I've been saying since last year. There's no reason to spend premium double the amount or 30-40% hike up to get that figure early from Hong Kong. I know there's retailers out there that will offer a premium service. And I remember in January, and this is something that, and you were part of it too. The perfect example is the 2-pack Boba Fett that I was I was Chicken Little. I kept telling everybody why. I know several people in the community who spent $800 to get it shipped over from Hong Kong because they were convinced they needed Boba Fett right now. It was that important. And one of the key instances of collectors tapping out, because I've seen when I was on Facebook, I'd make friends and then they would just disappear. They got way too in over the head, or worse, when the $500 that they spent on a 2-pack and they see it discounted, it's usually the recipe. I'm like, oh, you know what? I'm getting in over my head. This is not making any
crushing.
sense.
Yeah.
And I'm going to use this as an example. And by no means I am affiliated with this retailer, but this is a perfect example right here. The 2-pack Boba Fett that I kept telling everybody. On this, right? Now, this was a screenshot. Now, this price is no longer there. I think it's gone up.
Yeah, they put it back up to about $4 something.
Yeah, I think it's $4.10 or something like that. But this was a sale that they were having. This sale here, it created waves. This is something that as a collector, and you're making payments. Think about it. You're making payments on this 2-pack, and you see stuff like that, and you're not somewhat experienced in it as how this works. That can spook you out. That can what I just spent.
Oh yeah, because there are some people now who just might be getting around to making the payments on the 2-pack from Sideshow, right? And then all of a sudden they see something like this, and they don't know.
Yeah, or
even the folks, what the hell?
or even the folks who got caught up with the influencers in the community that swore that this was going to be an instant grail, this was going to double, and it's going to sell out, and this will eventually sell out, but you get caught up in the overseas hype, and you're spending $800 to get this on day one, and you see this, that's not how you curate a collection. That's probably the quickest way of tapping out of a collection. It's, what is it now, Christian? It's like $450. But yeah, it was a sale, and then they had a few others, so forth.
Well, and some of the troopers are still $100, and that same rule applies though, because you're spending, granted, maybe not as much as a 2-pack, but you know the transport trooper is still $220 plus tax plus shipping and Sideshow. And then when you see it over there for $100, that's still that kind of thing. And you're right. A lot of people fall off and disappear, you know, from YouTube or social media, because oftentimes people just don't want to admit they either got in over their head. They don't want to admit that they were wrong or that they made mistakes. I mean, you'd be the first to know, man. I made a lot of mistakes over the years, but you know, that's why I want to communicate that with my audience too. Like, hey, try to learn from my mistakes, because I've gone down that path, man. I've been in debt over it. I've, you know, it's a learning curve a lot of times, you know, and sometimes you're right. You get bamboozled by like influencers. It just happens, you know, but then that's why you want to have a broad spectrum of whoever you're watching or what research you're doing or what groups you're a part of, and try to use all of that to create your own informed decision before you dive in on things like that, right? Because at the end of the day, you're the one responsible for your bills, not you, not me, anybody.
Absolutely. I want to address this one, and I did address this on Geeking Out with Nate and the crew on this, and if you're a veteran Hot Toys collector, you would know that Toy Fair exclusives exist on a different frequency. They're not necessarily batched up like the regular figures, right? So you cannot use the Toy Fair's Boba Fett arena as a controlled experiment. You can't do that, because up until 2020, Toy Fairs, they would usually announce either 3 or 5 or 6 of them, and half of them would typically sell out or go on a wait list pretty quickly. That was the norm, right? That's how it was. 2020 threw things out of whack. Yeah, I mean, I remember the community. I remember the armor. I remember even Anthony talking about the armor that we all assumed, and I kind of suspect. I really felt that it was going to linger. My thoughts were it's going to sit on Sideshow for about 2 to 3 months, and then it'll end up selling out. You can still buy the armor, right, on Sideshow.
Still in stock a year
you can
later.
Still get it on stock. You can still get it. And there was a few people who ended up getting it early through overseas Hong Kong shops.
I would say, to be fair, though, on this topic in particular, is that Sideshow also, how do I say this? I think they made a huge blunder, is I think what the problem was, because they put it up on their site and they said it was going to be launched at the end of 2023, right? That was the first mistake.
Yeah.
The second mistake was they allowed you to add 6 to your cart. Okay. Now, should we have known better? Hindsight's 2020. I don't know. I can only tell you from my experience. I was working on a video for work towards the end of the evening. Now, remember, this is the first day. This was the first day. It showed up in the morning, whatever. So I was working, and then at the end, by the time I was done working, I said, okay, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and pre-order the Arena Fett, because of, as people are saying in the chat, they are exclusives. So exclusives are a little bit different. You got to treat them a little different, right? But at the same time, I didn't jump on it. Again, this is still the first day, but I'm like, okay, not till end of 2023. That's odd. Okay, but why would Sideshow lie? So okay, we got a year and a half, I guess, and a limit of 6. So I was like, okay, it's not an exclusive like, Armorized Deadpool or Cyborg Spider-Man or Midas Iron Man. So anyway, I put it in the cart, and then it kicked it out, and it wouldn't let me buy it, and then it went waitlisted, and I was like, well, shoot, that sucks. But that was my point, though. It sold out in less than 24 hours, essentially, on Sideshow, but I feel like there was an error in their part. They had it set for 6. They said it was a year and a half out. So a lot of people in the community are like, well, I don't need to get it right now. It's a year and a half out. And then a day later, it waitlisted. So this was kind of an oddity, but the rule still applies with exclusives. You do kind of want to get in on it if you really want it. But this was like wild. I didn't understand that.
And yet you have things like Neo here, where it's going to sit there forever, right? This is going to,
yeah.
This is going to sit, the toy for exclusive for Neo is probably going to be like the armor. I just don't. It's a great looking figure. It's Keanu Reeves. People do love Keanu Reeves, but the film was received very poorly within the community. So, and that the films always affect the way a figure performs. So it's a hit or miss. Again, that's the whole idea. And for the most part, Hot Toys has been pretty honest when they use the word exclusive. Toy for exclusive. This could be a small batch of, say, 500 pieces, if that, who knows? But it's typically a more limited run. The Arena Boba Fett, though, is a wait list, which I kind of feel that if you had missed out on it and you join it, you're probably going to get the invite to get it, because the problem is that when they finally start shipping, I don't even know if they've even started shipping that, because I pre-ordered mine within an hour of the email notice.
Well, let me tell you something else.
Yeah.
That you may have not noticed. They have not done their day 0 unboxing. There's only 3 unboxings, I think, on the internet right now from people, and Sideshow is not one of them. So I don't even know if they have it.
They may not even have it in stock then.
Do you see what I'm saying? I think there was something happened with the errors, putting down 6, putting it at the end of 2023. They didn't do it. Like, you would think that they would have day 0'd and done the unboxing.
Yeah.
Nothing.
You would think so. But they could be sandbagging. I mean, they
could be. You never know.
Yeah.
Hot Toys is a 2.0, maybe Sideshow. They're certainly changing. They're adapting. They didn't do day 0s until like October.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then we have the mystery of this guy right here. So this is what I don't. They've teased the Andrew Garfield, which is already on pre-order through most reputable Hong Kong retailers. Have you seen that? Have you seen that you can actually pre-order these, or you can pre-order the Tobey Maguire, Spider-Man, through KG Hobby and the Wolverine and so forth. As to why Sideshow hasn't opened up the pre-orders, my only thoughts on this is that I would just assume that they're saving it to hype it up. Yeah, leading to San Diego Comic-Con, meaning they may offer free shipping, they may offer an incentive, because it hasn't even opened up to the local comic book retailers either. It's not like Alter Ego would have this either.
Right. So, well, it has to, well, legitimately, they got to go through Sideshow anyway. You know,
they would still have to. Yeah. They would.
So, yeah, that's at the top of the totem pole here for distribution. So if they're not having it, they can't get an allotment from Sideshow yet.
Let me talk about Wolverine really quick. I'm not really going to spend too much time. So this is something that I'd actually shared my thoughts on over at Geeking Out, and I think this is a beautiful representation of Hugh Jackman. For me, I unfortunately have to pass on this because I don't want to go. To me, this feels moving backwards in curating my collection, and I know there are collectors out there who don't have a licensed representation of Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. I do. I have the Wolverine.
This would be the fifth.
Yeah.
To just, for those that don't know.
The fifth version of Hugh Jackman of license? Because they did the original X-Men, right? From the
Hot
film.
Toys has done 4 Wolverines so far, I'm pretty sure. They did the Origins.
They did Origins.
Another Days of Future Past, The Last Stand.
And this would be the number 4.
Something. I think there's 4. Maybe somebody in chat knows, but I think this is number 5. If I'm wrong, it's number 4.
I know there's been third-party companies that have abused Hugh Jackman as Wolverine.
For Hot Toys in general, though,
but for the licensed version, and this is Hugh Jackman as Wolverine is just one of those solid characters in the same sense like Johnny Depp as is in Captain Jack Sparrow,
and he's like the Iron Man of the Fox universe type
exactly.
thing.
Exactly. But my main reason is that for a pass for me is that the sticker price, this thing is retailing it's going to retail at $350. So tax and shipping, you're looking at a $400 figure. Second, it feels to me I'm moving backwards. Third, it's already been leaked that Kevin Feige is already scouting for the next actor to play Wolverine. So for me, I would rather move forward and build my Marvel collection with the new actor that's going to take on the mantle or take on the role. In the same vein as Robert Pattinson is, how he inherited with Christopher Nolan's Batman, where everybody's loving going backwards, buying.
Yeah, but at the same time, though, you would want to get a Batman and Robin, the Val Kilmer.
The difference is we've never had a Val Kilmer and a Chris O'Donnell Batman. We've had multiple versions of Christopher Nolan's Batman, and it kind of sucks that if you're getting into Christopher Nolan's Batman now with all of these reissues, well, I don't even feel comfortable saying reissue. It's more like a 2.0.
Yeah,
it's more of a 2.0. Your allotment for your toy money is now being absorbed by this, and then you're potentially missing out on other future brand new characters.
I can see that. Like if you already have some Wolverines, then and you're not really like, well, I don't want to say you're not a fan because obviously you wouldn't have Wolverines, but I see what you mean. Like when they started the Dark Knight stuff all over again, you're kind of like, I don't really. I'm kind of over this. I already have my Dark Knight representation. I get that, but as far as like, so I kind of get what you're saying with going a step backwards, but on the flip side, I think it's also that it's kind of a step forward too, right? Because we get these cool new bases. He's got real leather jacket, that to me, as far as Hot Toys, I'm like, oh, this is great. You give me real leather jacket, sweet, cool round base, badass diorama base for it. I like stuff like that, and to me, it was refreshing because I get a little jaded as just the predictability of, oh, okay, well, we know Spider-Man's coming. We know Obi-Wan's coming, of course. Not that we don't enjoy the figures, sure, we buy them, but it becomes predictable, So when I saw a Wolverine pop up out of nowhere, like nobody predicted this. So that's why I was like, oh, this is refreshing. And for people who don't have a Wolverine, I get it. But for you, like you said, your collection moving forward, this doesn't feel like a forward move for you.
Exactly. And to answer Christian's question, if the actors don't do well, again, I'm content with the Wolverine, Hugh Jackman. I have him there in my collection. I've been very sour with the way 20th Century Fox handled that whole X-Men universe. I don't.
I'm right there with you.
Yeah, I don't enjoy it. I'm not going to give them my money. I'm a big stickler for continuity errors. It drives me bonkers. The whole source material, it seemed like it was not respected. So I'm fine with my Wolverine. If you folks out there want a Hugh Jackman Wolverine, a license, a new version, then fine. There's nothing wrong, because I think it looks great. I think with the leather jacket and the seamless, it's fine. It just sucks though that the deluxe version is going to run you $400, and it's going to take away your toy money from other cool shit, I guess, is what I'm trying to.
Well, and I guess that's the cycle that the perpetual cycle that we're in, right? This downward spiral of collecting. It's like, it's kind of one of the reasons I got out of most Marvel figures, and to be quite frank, why I'm getting out of even some Star Wars lanes. Because I don't need there's too many lanes already, and then you go into Star Wars and I have too many lanes. I don't need, because of things like that. Now in my case, I'm like, you know what? I didn't like the movies, I'm not gonna lie. But I did like Logan. And I got used to Hugh Jackman over a while. Nothing wrong with him. I just feel like Wolverine should have been shorter, this and this. He kind of grew on me a bit, but I don't like the movies. But I would get this because I don't have one. And I'm going to put him with like my Deadpool and my Cable.
Oh, so you are going to get this? I'm
going to pick this one up. This one I'm going to pick up.
Nice. Is this
so
your first Wolverine? Is this your first license?
Yeah, I never picked any of them up.
I see.
Because I'm kind of in that boat, like, like, for example, like all my tattoos are X-Men, but they're comic X-Men. So when these movies came out, and I said this the other night, I think on Brother Cousins or somebody's stream, I was like, this came out in 2000, and some people may hate me for it, but 99 and 2000 was like, okay, we got The Matrix in 99, and that was cool in the theater. Mm-hmm. And then we saw Phantom Menace, and I left Phantom Menace, and then shortly thereafter this came out. Both movies, X-Men and Phantom Menace, I walked out of the theaters on both movies, and I was like, what the hell did I just watch?
Yeah, me too.
Like, you know what I'm saying?
Me too, for the Phantom Menace. I was like, I walked out, I'm like, what was that?
So for me, it's like...
There was no internet. I didn't know who to bitch to. You're like, what was that? What just... I guess I'm supposed to like it? It was really weird, though. I remember that. I forget things. But I absolutely remember walking out of the Phantom Menace like, I guess I'm supposed to enjoy this? I guess.
Yeah, I didn't know how to feel. And it hurt me even more with X-Men because I've just been such a fan of the comics for as far as I can remember. So I was like, what is that? They're all wearing black outfits, and that's not how Rogue got her powers. And what how, you know what I mean? It's like, this was not, so it was tough for me, but yes, I'm still going to get this though. I mean, just because, the sculpt looks great. I don't have one. Again, as far as like the Fox representation, I'll just throw him with the Deadpool and the Cable. And I'm like, well, that'll be cool. It's still comic, but it's, and that's the little corner for that,
Yeah. It just sucks though that he doesn't have to steal claws, but it would kind of make sense for the continuity. This is the
because he didn't, he didn't have them as bone claws. So
so it's fine. It's like I said, it's fine for me. This is a pass. Let's talk about the animatronic Obi-Wan here. Now, I guess the only thing that I can surmise why the head sculpt can be a little bit decisive is because of the purse system of the rolling eyeballs. It creates that weird Disney animatronic effect with the eyes.
But the eyes don't even look like boss-eyed or cross-eyed or anything. Like, I think the sculpt just needs work.
Where I think this is the one here. Yeah, with the eyes right here. My other argument with this too is that I never felt they did a decent job on the Revenge of the Sith.
I sold mine.
Huh? Yeah.
I sold mine
You
3
sold
days
yours?
ago.
Did you?
I swear to God, he's gone. He's not there. He's gone.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I too am in that boat. I was like,
Yeah.
you know what I do have? I have Obi-Wan Kenobi, and that's Alec Guinness. You know what I'm saying? Like, not that I don't like Ewan McGregor. It's just that's my Obi-Wan, and I did have my Revenge of the Sith Deluxe, and I got rid of it. I was like, you know what? I don't. You know when I had him posed, his hood was up forever because his sculpt was, in my opinion, not that great. It was too
wasn't
soft.
that great.
It didn't look.
So I always thought that was really. I always thought this was funny. People are arguing about the head sculpt. I'm like, did you guys remember? You guys forget? In fact, I can even tell you the main reason, the tipping point why I bought Revenge of the Sith, Obi-Wan Kenobi, and it was because of the accessory. I was like, I see value with props and accessories. And because he came with that holographic table and the holographic Vader and the little baby Luke and all that, honestly, that was it. And that's in certain cases. In fact, I think with Star Wars, it's really weird. I think I've done that 3 times. Like the Phantom Menace, Darth Maul. I didn't really care for the character, but I wanted his speeder. And the speeder, it's crazy. But again, that's just me. That's just how I collect. The speeder is what justified. It happened again for Rey. The last version, the last Hot Toys Rey, it came with Dio. It came with the droid.
You got your droid.
And the droid pushed me over. So it's it's crazy because in my mind, and I'm thinking Star Wars characters with Hot Toys, that specific IP seems to be the only. It's never been in Marvel where I'll buy Rocket for the gauntlet. No, I bought Rocket Marvel because I wanted Rocket, or Iron Man and so forth. But with Star Wars, I've always been on the fence. I've always been, I want this. I'll get it's always, I evaluate the accessories. What do you get and so forth. I don't know if this is going to get improved or not. I'm going to get them.
Yeah, but if they don't improve this and they improve Doc Ock, that's kind of, you know, speaking of Rey and Kylo, and Endgame Hulk, they did not look very good. And then when they put out the final photos, they're like, hey, by the way, we updated the sculpts.
Yeah.
And some others before them.
So you think it's another, so did you sell your Revenge of the Sith Kenobi because you were going to anticipate buying this one, or?
No, I just, what I decided was I don't have a light or dark side Anakin, and I don't particularly think that either of those figures and Episode 3 look very good. I feel like they're kind of aged, and I'm not going to go backward to get a light side or dark side Anakin just to pair him with, Obi-Wan for that. So what I have now, I just decided, what I'm going to do. I have, and I'm still on the fence on this one, but I have Clone Wars Anakin and Ahsoka, and I have them. That's it. That's their representation, right? And then, if I have like a Qui-Gon and my Yoda, and be like, okay, and that's like the prequel / Clone War. Like I have Cody, Rex, and a few 501sts here. They're boxed up. They're ready to be shipped out. I was just like, when I look at them for me, they don't give me what's the word I'm looking for? When you look at your collection, my eyes would always just go to my original trilogy. That's
passion.
Was my
like the passion.
Yeah, and now some that I do like Ruben's saying in chat, if I have any Maul, I have all 3 Darth Mauls because I love Darth Maul. So I want all 3 Darth Mauls, but you know what I mean? I don't need to, because what I was finding out what was happening was the clones are coming. Like, we know this. We saw this happening with the 501st. Yeah. And then I was like, I did not grow up watching Clone Wars. I did not grow up watching the prequels. Now, I've almost finished the Clone Wars, but my point is I didn't grow up with it. It doesn't hit me the same way. So why go through all these lanes? Like, perfect example, with Mandalorian, I have 100% of the Mandalorian line. And there's not one figure I'm missing. So I'm like, okay, what's the next figure? Bo-Katan? Cool. When she comes out, I'll pick her up. But other people would be like, well, here's Bo-Katan, she just came out, and then here's, you know, Clone Trooper Jesse or Vaughn, they just came out, and now the Bad Batch are like coming out, and now all of a sudden that one figure that you wanted turned into 5 figures. So I was just like, I don't want to go down every possible lane of Star Wars.
It's getting pricey, dude.
Yeah, and I was like, I could get other things, and with the way the market is right now, I'm able to pick up some older figures that I enjoy from my era, you know, that are not Star Wars, you know, like Ripley or like The Crow or Terminator, or, you know, I can get them at reasonable prices right now and focus on things that I love, and then still have all my original, plus, you know, Mando, because like I said, I'm in it 100% already, so I'm going to continue the line. Mandalorian's a great show, so
it's a good line. Yeah, it's a good line. It's fun. It's fun. But let's Hot Toys is phoning it in for certain figures, Transport Trooper and Shore Troopers, and I mean they're it's hard. So when I listen to streams, when I listen to you folks out there, it's tough to criticize a sticker price, say like on a Spider-Man figure, but yet we're swallowing the big fat pill for a lot of these clones that are kind of lazy. I mean, I'm guilty of buying them too, but it's $250 for a Transport Trooper, as generic as you can get.
I took advantage. I grabbed them for $100.
There you go. Yeah,
because that's what I'm saying. It's like I don't need to be grabbing everything all at once, you know, and you know, to my, like you were saying, like what fits in your collection. Like, well, for me, that's how that works. Like I have, you know, episode 4, 5, and 6, and then, you know, I have all of like Rogue One right here. Rogue One's not a line that one is, you know, consistently collecting, right? I mean, Rogue One, you have it. So I'm not worried that, oh shit, there's going to be another 12 Rogue One figures coming. Like that's not happening. You know what I'm saying? So I don't have to worry like that. If there's a burden that comes off you where you're like, I don't need to be in every single lane.
It sucks though that you have to discriminate within the Star Wars IP, where you have to segregate, where it kind of, versus with Marvel, and like you had the wave of endgame characters being, you know, on the conveyor belt, so you can then nitpick, versus Star Wars, you're jumping from classic trilogy to prequel to sequel trilogy to this to the cartoon adventures to and
Solo.
I think I say this. I know I said this. I said this on my streams. I thought it was ridiculous that a lot of the YouTube influencers last year, probably around the same time, were asking for more and more Star Wars. And they kept, you know, poking the bear, and we need Bespin Luke, and we need this, and we need that, and we need, and I would go on, I'd go on the offensive, and people were like, well, you don't care about this. I'm like, I love Star Wars, but I go, do you not hear yourselves? You're asking. And at that point, we were only sitting like at 35 pre-orders for Star Wars. We're close to 60 pre-orders right now for Star Wars.
Yeah.
And I always thought it was funny. I was like, you're asking for more, and now we have multiple SKUs of Luke Skywalker. And so I'm very skeptical now. I'm like, oh, this is going to be the figure. This is going to be the one. No, it's not.
Well, it depends on the passion, right? Like I have minus DX07, which is, you know, the first Star Wars hot toy. I have every single Luke Skywalker. So for me, but again, that's what falls in my wheelhouse, right? Original trilogy. So, but I get what you're saying. With most people, they're like, well, I want all the Lukes. It's like, but do you? Like, are you gonna, when it comes out, when Mando Luke drops, right? When now Snowspeeder came out, you know, and then Bespin Luke's, you know, on the back end of those, like, are you gonna, you know, I get that. Not everybody's going to.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's what's the story on this here? So let's see, Riley has a question here. I don't know how you feel about this, Danoby, but seeing Toby made me a little disappointed with the Andrew. Why did they license it as the Amazing Spider-Man 2 and practically reissue with an updated sculpt on dirty a bit? I don't understand the question. Do you understand the question, Anthony?
Yeah, I think I understand what he's saying. So this is basically a 2.0.
Yes,
it's the same sculpt but different paint apps. You know, when you look at side by side now, as to why they named it The Amazing Spider-Man 2, well, the simple answer is money. The more detailed answer is they don't have to go after the license for a new popular property when they still have the Amazing Spider-Man 2 license. This is probably dirt cheap to renew it from a business standpoint. So they just slap that label on it, give you your Spider-Man, and play a little trickery. Like they could do the Lizard because there's no likeness rights.
Exactly.
You know, it's a CG adaptation, and the Lizard diorama comes with the syringe that he uses in No Way Home that you can give to Andrew. So they're just smart about it marketing wise. They're saving money by doing this license. This isn't a Disney license. This is a Sony property.
Is Sony. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So Disney has no
brand new. So this head sculpt is brand new though. This is a 2.0. I've never seen this head sculpt before.
Well, if you look at the side by sides, I think it's the same sculpt that they when they originally announced it, but I'm no expert.
I had the original. I had the Amazing Spider-Man Andrew Garfield. I had him. I never had the first. Maybe it was the first one. I had one of them, and I ended up selling them, and I regretted it. But this head sculpt looks extremely brand new. I think it looks like Andrew Garfield. I know there was debate within the community. I'm like, here's maybe this one looks a little bit dated, but here's my thing, right? When it comes to Spider-Man in my Spider-Verse, I keep the mask on. If I'm gonna do this, right, I'm probably gonna have him suited with the Amazing Spider-Man suit. I think the head sculpt looks great. I don't have any issues with it.
Yeah, me too.
I think it looks like Andrew Garfield. This is a buy. I have already planned to build the Spider-Verse into my modular case. I'm moving mines over here, moving it to a larger one, so that I can anticipate Doc Ock, Green Goblin, Electro, the Vulture. I have to plan that we're going to get the Vulture. So I look forward to this. So seeing Toby made me a little disappointed. They haven't teased Tobey Maguire yet, have they?
They showed him, but they didn't show the sculpt.
They didn't show the sculpt. Okay, that's what I thought. So
we don't know what branding he's going to be under. He could be under Spider-Man 3.
Yeah.
I don't know if they brand him No Way Home. I'm not sure. Maybe at the end of the day, it was just the better business route to go that way.
Yeah.
You know, whatever the reasoning, as confusing as it may look, it always comes down to money.
Absolutely. And it doesn't bother me. I don't care about the label. And I know.
No, I don't care that it's Amazing Spider-Man 2. That's where he's from. He was pulled from that movie universe.
He sure was.
Into this Sony Marvel hybrid universe that we're in. Yeah. You know. So
I'm looking at the suit now, and I can tell you I did not have this one. I actually had the first version, which looked like it was like an Olympic skier skin-tight suit. I had that one. So it was the very first one, the first, because they've done two versions of Andrew Garfield as Spider-Man. They had one, and they had two. Then they had Electro, and then the movie people poo-pooed on it, and then that was it. And I did a San Diego review on it. They teased a bunch of characters from the Amazing Spider-Man 2. One of them being the prototype Rhino. Yeah. And they also had a regular, like, high school version of Andrew Garfield under the Amazing Spider-Man. There was quite a bit. There was like 3 different versions. They only did one. They did Electro, and they called it.
I think what people often forget too is, you know, being in a part of the industry. I know that with certain properties, there's minimum requirements usually that a company would want you to do, right? So for example, I'm Hot Toys and I say, okay, we would like to do the Amazing Spider-Man 2 figure line for your movie. And then that Sony rep would be like, okay, we'll go ahead and grant you the license, but we need a minimum of, 4 figures in order for you to even make one. We want 4 from you if you want to do the license. And then let's say they go, okay, cool. So we made the main protagonist. We made a high school version of them. We're doing this Rhino here. We're doing this Electro. And then they get sent out for approval. And now the Sony people got to be like, okay, can we green light this? Is this acceptable? And even through Sony, they may have to go through the actors, whether it's through their contract, through their agents, or if they have their own, like, if they've passed away, they have to go through their estate.
Yeah.
And then they have to come back to the manufacturer, like Hot Toys, and be like, well, unfortunately, we can't roll this one. And that happens a lot. So it's not like, and a lot of people are like, why is Hot Toys always teasing this stuff? Well, sometimes they just can't put it out. Not always, but there's a lot of stuff behind the scenes that occur. Or, as we saw with Arena Fett, everybody was like, oh, look at Hot Toys. They totally got us out of nowhere. Look what they did. And it's like, well, no, because Hasbro's Black Series is doing the same thing. This is a Disney thing.
Yeah.
It says, okay, guys, we have an Arena Fett War of the Bounty Hunters comic. We want to try to, promote this with action figure merchandise. This is what we want you guys to make. So Hasbro does a Black Series. Hot Toys does the Hot Toys. You see what I'm saying? So
yep.
it all sometimes comes from the top.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And sometimes the actors may not approve their likeness. It could be in their contract. Sometimes they may not even have the privilege of their likeness. I don't think
Peacemaker.
I don't think the Hawkeye and Hawkeye, Black Widow. I don't think they had the likeness rights. That's something that gets worked into the contract. Sometimes they may not even have. They can just print it out. In fact, I think the only two actors out of the Avengers, and I wish I can prove this, is Chris Evans and Robert Downey Jr. I don't even think Thor.
Because they got the most money.
Yeah, I don't even think Helmsworth had likeness rights. Again, that's something he probably does now, but I think in the early days, back in 2012, like, no. Because by 2012, Robert Downey Jr., I mean, his paycheck, and I only know this because I learned it today, what was he, like, minimum SAG for the first Iron Man?
He didn't make much money in the first.
And then for Iron Man 2, his paycheck was like a 2,000% increase. It was a $10 million check. And so by the time he was already at Avengers, he was already commanding them at their feet and so forth.
Well, that's why he came into Homecoming, and they were like, well, it was something along those effects. I'm not going to do it for anything less than like $45 million to make an appearance
or
something.
Or
know
worse,
what I mean?
Points.
Yeah, right. Something. Yeah. But you bring up a good point. Like with Scarlett Johansson, like she's, as far as I know, she's done with Disney. She got pissed about that and tried to do the lawsuit for the digital release of Black Widow. So what happens if she's like, I'm done? Then is that a breach of contract? You know what I'm saying? Does that mean we'll never get a Black Widow with her likeness? Those are all weird things behind the scenes that we don't know.
Yeah. So, and that's something I remember saying a little while ago about the Black Widows that are currently in pre-order. That could very well be it. In the same sense that the Captain America Chris Evans, that could be it. Now, again, it is speculation at this point, but nothing is certain. I mean, I had up until the Back to the Future DeLorean Mark II, up until that point, I had assumed that Hot Toys was never ever going to make another DeLorean in 1/6 scale figure in that scale. So I had just planned that with the two I have, like, that's it. Like, it's blowing up. I mean, $2-3 grand on eBay if you even want to find a brand new DeLorean. But they did it. They announced a pre-order, regardless if they were pushed by another retailer. Who knows? There's a lot of finger pointing in there. But
and now you have, for better or worse, love them or hate them, and then Inart's going to make the DeLorean too.
Yeah.
So now all of a sudden we've got where we once thought there was nothing. And I'm interested to see what happens with their DeLorean, because they say that it's going to be die cast. And if that thing comes out amazing, that's just going to, I think it's just going to kill the value of the first Hot Toy DeLorean. If it comes out amazing, you know what I'm saying? Because why go spend, like you said, $2-3 grand on this old one when there's a new version of the same, part one DeLorean, it's die-cast and it's great. You know what I mean? So it's like you said, you never know. You're like, I don't think there was ever going to be one, and now all of a sudden we got 2 on the horizon. You know what I mean?
We have 2 on the horizon, but the difference is that Hot Toys has the Mark II on pre-order, and
right, that's officially out,
officially out,
ready to go.
And the only thing we've gotten from Inart or Queen Studios is just a verbal contract, which in some states that might not even hold.
Sure, right. I agree.
So,
I agree. It's a
so
giving the benefit of the doubt.
Look, it's no big secret. I'll say it on the stream. I don't trust Inart, right? I don't trust this branch of Queen Studios. There's Queen Studios, and then there's their subsidiary spinoff, right? Best way to describe it, Inart. They've announced 3 pre-orders, right? Very expensive pre-orders, and they haven't delivered a product yet. I find that very concerning in an already saturated market right now with a lot of good stuff. I find that very concerning. Now, their presence will be seen at San Diego Comic-Con. They partnered up with Toynami, so they're going to have their products there. Now, I wish I had PJ there, because my understanding is that he'll be there to represent them as an ambassador. But I'm also assuming that it's only Queen Studios, meaning their statues
they're not licensed in the U.S. for 6 scale.
So not even
they can't legally bring their prototypes, because you would be advertising a product that you are prohibited to in the United States. You don't have the license.
Yeah.
So I don't. From a business standpoint, no. I would be shocked if they had a 6 scale figure there.
Yeah, and they're advertising it on their social media channels and so forth. And I know PJ. It's just this is the show. San Diego Comic-Con is the biggest pop culture toy show in the world. This is where I should have had that meme from Rick and Morty. Show me what you got, right? And my biggest concerns are, I'd like to see these things up close and personal, these 1/6 scale figures, even the prototypes, right? So that I can kind of take a look at it, because I'm bringing the big gun up. I mean, I don't want to say that on the stream. I'm bringing my big camera, my HXC, my 4K Panasonic out there, so I can get some nice close-up shots of what surprises and wonders that I'm going to be able to see there. But I'll visit them, right? I mean, anybody that's ever been or heard of San Diego Comic-Con, this is a map. This is a show map, and these exhibitors, they spend a lot of money. These are very expensive booths. They come in hard, and you can kind of see their lineup. But Toynami's right in the center. I don't think I can zoom in on this, but it's right next to Mattel. If you see the Mattel logo right in the center, Toynami is right next to them. So they're situated between Bandai, Toynami there. So I'll most likely try to do a live stream from preview night, just to swing by. I'm not so much interested, and I probably I won't be spending a lot of time with them, because it's not that I don't care about their statues. There's only a few pieces, the statues, that I really I'm gravitated to, but they are expensive. They too take up a lot of space, and I have bigger problems right now trying to manage my Hot Toys collection as far as space and so forth. But I definitely will pay them a visit, and if they don't have, I mean, I don't know, but you're probably right. My assumption is it's just going to be statues there.
Yeah, they can't.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make any sense. And it probably wouldn't be that, but I mean, I guess if you're a statue collector, it would be something that you can kind of see in person. But I think for the audience that we're kind of catering to, you want to see these prototypes.
Yeah.
That's my main concern there. Man, the DeLorean 1.1 is a grail. Christian was the grail. The Mark 1 Hot Toys is still a grail. It's still twice the amount of money. Keep in mind though that the pre-order Mark 2 is completely different. It'll have Mr. Fusion, so forth. I'm sure there's going to be some mechanical R&D done to get those wheels properly aligned. I hope they do, because I'll blast them. I will blast Hot Toys if they don't get those hover wheels nice and lined up. But that's my concerns with Inart. They're showcasing
they're valid concerns. They're valid concerns.
There's a lot of and there's just several influencers in the community that are in love with them, including you, Anthony. I know you love them so.
I have the Joker two pack on coming. So, well, listen, I don't love them. To be clear, I'm not fanboying, but I'm interesting. I'm boots on the ground as the story develops, right? I have John come on my show. I've spoken to him a lot. You know, I want to see what happens.
Yeah.
And believe me, you know me, I'll be the first one. Just like if you're going to criticize the DeLorean, I will be criticizing this. I will be scrutinizing this Joker when I get it. And if I'm displeased by it, my opinion will be voiced for what it's worth. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to be like, this is an amazing. If I'm like, no, what is this? So that's where I stand right now. But I had to support it. It's a new company.
Look, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's just a lot of concerns, a lot of red flags, the whole exclusivity of that limited. I mean, it's one, but again, like I said, I mean, folks out there, if you want to pre-order their products, and help support me, the link is in the description for Spec Fiction. I'll promote Spec Fiction simply because you can still get the Ecto-1 After Life 1/6 scale, and that's going to be a grail. You have your eye on that too, Anthony. You still want that.
Dude, I'm such a I do.
It's coming.
I do.
It's coming. Let's talk about the flex here. Everybody's in huge denial, and we talked behind the scenes, and you pretty much said exactly the same thing I said on this right here, on this bad boy right here. You have to, at this point, you have to assume that they're going to make this.
Yeah. You
can't convince yourself this is just a flex or prototype. There's a good possibility. Look, I mean, for all we know, the Bothan spies from the third party pirateers are probably scanning this, trying to recreate it. So
you most guarantee that. Yeah. I mean, that's what they do. That's what they did with the Vulture. Come on.
Yeah. I don't have any space for this, but will definitely be a buy for me.
We'll find a space.
We'll find a way. We have to.
The reason why I feel like it is, as I told you before, is that they, and again, this could just be mind games. This is Hot Toys 2.0, but they put out a video showing it's 180 centimeters long. It's 5.8 inches for us in America. So it's almost 6 feet long. They show the specs, they show the length and the width, and then the turbines light up and spin. They're showing you that, which means they pay somebody, because I'm an editor. They pay somebody to edit and create this video. They're putting time into this, and I don't feel like they would do that just for fun.
No.
There's a reason, whether it's psychological warfare with competitors, or to just keep us on our toes, or are they really going to... That's my point. There's a plan. Whatever their plan is, it makes you think, oh, this actually could come.
They used to do complex R&D vehicle ships like this. I mean, the best example is the Bat, the Christopher Nolan, the Bat. That thing was huge. It was massive. I actually had it, and I ended up selling it after a couple of years because it was A, I wasn't a big fan of it, and then B, it was a space hog as far as volume. It took up a lot of volume vertically. It was one of my biggest challenges to display that thing properly. It was a great piece. It had the spinning blades and so forth. This N1 Starfighter here does not look like it would be an extreme challenge for Hot Toys.
And I don't think it would be heavy either.
I don't think it would be heavy. And Collector Chris, I don't think it would be 12 feet long because you would essentially assemble it. That's the whole idea. It's a junk Naboo Starfighter built out of scraps. Most likely this will be...
It could be like a snap.
It'll be a snap where you'll snap the tail and so forth, and everything will be a snap. I thought for the longest this was a 1/12 scale, but Hot Toys like made it very clear, no, this is 1/6 scale. So if I did the math though, and I don't know if this is a different model of the N1, but if an actual Naboo fighter would be 6 feet, if it was
it's 36 feet.
Yeah.
So it's close. Like I said, it's 5.8 feet
so it's
long.
Close. Okay. So the tail could have been cut. I mean, because it is a junk version of. I mean, it's built out of scraps, right? It's recycled parts. That was the whole
I mean, according to like the Star Wars like Wikipedia, it's like the actual Naboo Starfighter's 36 feet. But again, this is they didn't. Unless they've updated something where they said the Mandalorian Starfighter is this dimension, right? Because you're right, it was scrap. Who knows? Or maybe it could just be like, hey, you know what? Those extra 4 inches would probably cost you another $300.
Probably
for making the mold, because the mold, you know what I'm saying? You don't know. So, and if they're like, that's within an acceptable margin, I don't think anybody's gonna get this and be like, this thing's 3 inches short. I want my money back.
This right here, this Hot Toys Flex, whatever you want to call it, it's pretty much the reason I told you. I'm like, I'm gonna have to bring in the heavy 4K camera because I want to be able to zoom in on this. I want to be able to archive it. I want to be able to document the experience just in case. And the just in case meaning if it goes dormant for several years.
Right, and you have good archival footage of
and
this
I have
detail.
good B-roll footage that and timestamped and so forth. At this point in time, I'm assuming this is going to go into pre-order. I can't even. I don't even want to promote that it's a fake flex like the 1/6 scale TIE fighter. Like, no, I think this is legit. Like they're making a killing on the Mandalorian line. And Anthony, and like we've been talking about, the only thing that is solid foundation within the Star Wars IP is the Mandalorian.
Yep.
All right. Mm-hmm. It's the sequel trilogy is questionable. I mean, I thought the classic trilogy was gold, but even that seems like the fans are making excuses.
Well, I think it's an age, right? As we get older,
I mean,
the demographics change, right? Like we all love, let's say, original series Star Trek or something. I'm more geared to 60-year-olds.
Yeah, and you probably know this too, because you probably have an idea that Snowspeeder Luke, it's going to sit around for quite a while. I mean, you can go on Alter Ego right now, and you can buy 6 of them if you want.
It'll sit for a while, unfortunately, because it's just the harsh reality of it is, we're the old guard.
Yeah,
and we're literally getting older, and the people who were young, who grew up as children watching the prequels and adolescence into Clone Wars, are now in their 20s or early 30s, and that's their nostalgia bait right there, right? That's why the Clone Wars is. That's why I told you, I was like, don't underestimate those clones, man, because that generation, and I'm sure a lot of them are in the chat right now, like, will buy everything Clone Wars or everything prequel. So, but then for us, we're like, what, are you crazy? You got to get an original trilogy. That's like, but that was ours. So that's why Luke's going to sit for a while. It's just unfortunate. But Mando, you're right. This is hot.
It's extremely, and this is why I'm so skeptical every time they announce. I was picking on you with Cad. Oh, people love Cad Bane. I go, most people's first experience of Cad Bane is through that show, and how that show, the Book of Boba Fett, was written is there. Not everybody watched the.
But I don't think most normies.
Yeah.
His first experiences of Cad Bane is the Book of Boba Fett. But how many normies are Hot Toy collectors? so that's how I look at it. I'm like, well, let's look at the demographic of hot toy collectors, then Star Wars hot toy collectors, and there's a big majority of Clone Wars prequel era collectors. So that's why I was like, yo, that's gonna be a hot item for that generation. But ordinarily, yes, you're right. Like, had I not ever watched any of the animated shows, that's my interpretation of Cad Bane. He was in an episode, he died, whatever, he's gone. One could argue that he's a throwaway character. But the prequel fans, or I'm sorry, the Clone Wars fans are going to be like, what did you just say? Like, they're like, their Cad Bane is like our Boba Fett.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
And you'll be able to gauge their support based on how long the Clone Wars figures will sit. Right?
Right.
Kind of. Like, how long is Ahsoka going to sit there? Well,
to put in perspective, the clone Chrome Trooper sold out in 5 days. And the Chrome Death Trooper, you can get 2 of them and he's still in stock.
But that was a Celebration exclusive. Again, that falls under the Toy Fair. And people
sure,
tend
but
to
the
use
Death
that.
Troopers are still there.
Yeah, it's kind of like using the Chrome Trooper as your control subject, experimentation for like, well, this is why the Clone Wars are popular. Like, no, you're using
no, more beyond that. It's just or for example, the 501st, both are sold out. The Stormtroopers sit in stock.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at it through all lenses, right? I just want to see because I'm not, again, dude, I'm selling all these clones. They're not I don't connect with them as much. I'm just saying there's people out there that do, and it's maybe more popular than we realize. You know what I mean? Or like that we want to admit, because we're like stuck in our ways, bro. Like
we are, and but it's been working out for me that I've stopped day one pre-order, and I just because I'm starting to score good deals. Right?
Yeah, same as I was saying. Yeah.
I've scored good deals through I've scored good deals through Hong Kong retailers that are discounting figures. The heavy stock at Sideshow. I was picking on Fat Thor the other day, and they threw that coupon out, and I got suckered on it, the $75 with the free ship. And I'm going to tell you something. You look at your collection differently when you buy your figures discounted. Very good, because I got to tell you, I'm digging the Fat Thor now. Again,
did you feel like it was a no pun intended, but like a worthy purchase, right?
It was a very worthy. Yeah,
it's cheaper. I feel good about it.
Yeah, because the original retail price is $275.
I would not feel good about spending $300+ on Fat Thor.
On Fat Thor, no, but $200. When they gave you the coupon and the free ship, and then you see the accessories and so forth, you look at your collection very differently. And then again, that's using that analogy is how people would feel when you're spending buku's amount of to get the 2-pack Boba Fett, and like I need Boba Fett now for $800 or $900 through Toys Wonderland, and then you see. Like, did you really need him that fast? Because now he's discounted, and even Sideshow, I think, is advertising them with 10% off or something. Even Sideshow, it's heavy. Yeah. It's heavy. This is it was, and it wasn't even like negative predictions on my part last year. I kept emphasizing, look at the numbers, folks. Look at the numbers. This isn't going to end very well. When you're building a spreadsheet and you see all the pre-orders piling up, this is even during the holidays. Captain Rex is going to be the next grail. I'm like, guys, this is the math.
No, I mean, he's like 190 in buy-sell trade groups. I mean,
yeah, it doesn't add up. It just doesn't make any sense.
Well, to your point though, with the Starfighter being Mando, is equivalent to the series, like anything Mando is it's hot, so it's been massively produced. It's been massively produced. So, eventually, yes, it's gone. Eventually it's going to sell out. Maybe in 6 years, if they don't reissue the same figure 5 times,
there you go.
It's going to hold some value. And I too, listen, I know when I fuck up, I was somebody when the OG Mando came out, I was like, yo, this OG Mando is gonna be a Grail. I really think so, because he only wore he got his armor in episode 2.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, he's never gonna wear the original Beskar or Durasteel armor again.
No.
So logically in my head, I'm like, well, of course this is gonna have value. It's the very first appearance of this new figure, new character, Mandalorian, in his original first appearance armor that he's never gonna wear again. And then not even a year later, they're like, here he is with the blurg. So you're like, oh, what?
Yep. Yeah, boy, that was a nasty little fat pill. It also happened with Venom too. Remember that? Oh, the Venom.
Venom was,
look at that
overnight, dude.
Boy, the kids all thought that they were the cat's meow with that first version until the 2.0 Venom came out and made the first one look like the poor cousin. You're like, oh, nobody wants the old one anymore. No. We got the new.
Well, and again, you have Beskar Mando Deluxe with Child, and then he's barely not even out in shelves yet. And then they're like, here's chrome plated Mando season 2.
Yeah.
And people are like, what? I just got this. Why do I want this one now? So it sucks, because as a collector, you want to have some sense of exclusivity to a point, right? You appreciate when you have, a Yondu or something that's out there and limited, and you're like, oh, I like this. I have this. And then, or Heavy Infantry Mando. I'm like, yeah, Heavy Mando, dope. Now he's reprinted Book of Boba Fett, like, God forbid we have something that we can hold on to that gives us a little bit of, whatever that word is. I mean, I'm tired of shit. So you know what I'm saying? Like, but you feel like you have value. Something kind of, value. Yeah. And that is not the case with Hot Toys at all.
No. What's up, Nate? What's up, Ash? What's up, Anthony? What's up, everybody? There you go. Myth, the Legends, got to get back to work. Thank you, dude. Thank you so much. There's just, this is what I dreaded last year, the overwhelming influx. People kept asking for Star Wars, and now everybody's saturating the market. Everybody's selling. Everybody's doing what you're doing. Everybody's liquidating. Liquidator Brunt. Selling it. Just like, I go, it doesn't work like that, folks. It doesn't work like that. There's a lot of stuff being teased. You still got this one, dude. They're Cobb Vanth, Cad Bane, another Boba Fett. Are you getting any of these?
Yeah, no, I'm
gonna Cad Bane. Are you getting Cobb Vanth if they make them?
I am 100% getting Cobb Vanth, because I like Timothy Oliphant, and he has to have a head sculpt. So for me, I was overjoyed to see him in Mando, because I really enjoyed him in Deadwood, and then I watched Justified, the show on FX, as it aired. So I watched that show for like 6-7 years. This isn't like a Netflix binge. This was like almost watching weekly on FX, and then you have to wait 6-7 months for the new season. You know what I mean? So I enjoyed him. So when I saw him show up and he's playing like a marshal, and I'm like, okay, this is cool. Like, I like this. So, but again, I'm going to get all 3 of these just because it's current. It's in that realm of the Mando saga, and, why not? And I like Fett, dude. And I think this is a really cool looking outfit compared to the one on the throne, which of course I'm going to get because, again, it's the throne.
It's the throne.
You get those cool pieces. You're like, well,
Yeah. I'll get the alien. I'll get Cad Bane. I still haven't seen those episodes. I'll get around to it. But I do want Star Wars Aliens, so I definitely would probably get. I don't care for Cobb Vanth. I don't. If they release Cobb Vanth into pre-order status, he's going to sit for a very long time. That's one of those characters I call bullshit within the community.
To an extent, but he can also be a companion piece to Cad Bane.
Yeah. I just think he's gonna I think I hear the crowing within the community that they would want Cobb Vanth, but when he goes in pre-order and he gets released and there's those invoices are being shipped out, and it's that between
Yeah,
a
he's no Luke
speeder.
Skywalker or
Yeah,
Darth Vader or yeah.
yeah. He's. I just feel he's one of those characters that will get the. He's probably in the same realm as Moff Gideon. Moff Gideon is going to sit for a very long time. I think he's in that realm. I think this is
Oh,
this
he's in
is
the realm, all right. He's
hmm?
oddly right next to Lando on the
Yeah.
on the list of he is
Yeah,
there,
yeah.
unfortunately, and I don't,
And he had more screen time that Cobb Vanth, even with Cobb Vanth's, return. I mean, Moff Gideon had, several episodes. I mean, he helped propel and had really good story arc with Carlos Esposito. But because collectors are getting overwhelmed, some characters are just unfortunately going to get the short end of the stick, and you
oh yeah, it
can't go
happens. Again, that's
go
what I
for it.
meant by multiple
Yeah,
lanes. I'm like, I don't need this when I
yeah,
can. This is more of a priority to me.
yeah. Are you sold on this Vader, on this Anakin? This is from the Kenobi show. I'm assuming you're going to get.
Yeah, I'm gonna get it, but it's a yes and no. I'm not sold on it yet.
Okay.
I'm hoping. I mean, I get it. That doesn't mean I'm sold on it though. What I mean by that is, I'm hoping, because this is pretty much like Rogue One Vader, which
It
I
is
don't
like the Rogue
have.
One Vader. Yeah.
So I will get this, because the only this is, to your point, exactly what you're talking about. This is why I only have a New Hope Vader. I have the Vader Tarkin 2-pack.
Mm.
That was my only Vader. As far as original trilogy, I only have vintage Boba Fett. See, now the reason being is because I was collecting Marvel as well. So when something comes out that was Marvel, at the same time, let's say Empire Strikes Back Vader came out, I would opt to get the Marvel figure because, I have a Vader. So
Yeah.
that was so you see, so that's how you end up missing things, because exactly to your point, do I need a Cobb Vanth when I really want a Darth Vader and this is what I can swing right now? You see that's where I mean. So I'm still going to get it, but I'm hoping we're going to get a reveal of a head sculpt and or a clean version such as this, and then a battle damaged version.
You have to wonder why they haven't shown you
Yeah.
the battle damage with the broken helmet.
It's not just the helmet.
I have a
he got
right.
pretty, so I don't know.
I pretty positive it's going to be a double dip. It'll be a regular version and an extra crispy version. It's going to be two SKUs.
Right, you want original recipe or extra crispy?
There you go.
Like, I mean,
yeah. That's how they're going to get you, and it'll be a situation very similar to that's I hate dual SKUs. I hate when they keep, but this is what happened with the battle damage Mark 85. Danoby, do you think the battle damage Mark 85 will be heavily discounted at some point? Absolutely. Yeah. In fact, I keep hoping that it's one of those mystery deals from Sideshow. Every day they're releasing a coupon. I'm hoping so that, because I canceled mine. I'm like, this is stupid. This is all this Marvel stuff is just end up in a discount, and it doesn't discourage me as a collector, but I'm all about curating, looking for the best deal, getting the coupon. I want to get the most bang for my buck. I don't need these figures right away. I'm not going to lose any sleep because I don't have Boba Fett, overnighted through FedEx. I don't care. In the, it's the hair and the turtle. And I've just seen I've been doing this for quite a while. I mean, that's the easiest way to on tapping out. Tons of pre-orders. Just wait. My only caution advice right now is keep an eye on the vehicles because of the non-refundable deposit. Most collectors are spooked right now, including us veterans right now, like me and Anthony, and we're not pre-ordering these expensive vehicles. We're going to get them. I'll figure something out, but I'm pretty positive that the vehicles are all going to be small batches, including going all the way up early in the year, including the DeLorean, the Mark II DeLorean. Right, that's $850.
See, now these are the things you have to consider, though, right?
Yeah.
And this is so let's use the DeLorean as an example. In parallel with Arena Fett. Okay, a lot of people are like, why did Arena Fett like go crazy? I thought everybody hated Book of Boba Fett, and nobody likes Boba Fett anymore.
Yeah.
Right? Well, that's within this little ecosystem of our little esoteric group of hot toy collectors and Star Wars collectors, right? And a lot of people don't understand the popularity outside of hot toys of Boba Fett, right? To the same token of the DeLorean, right? So one could argue, like with the Bark Speeders and this AT-RT Walker, when they like those will sit for a while. Short batch, long batch, whatever, they're gonna sit. The DeLorean is not something that you want to sit because there's going to be thousands of people who are Back to the Future fanatics that do not own any 6-scale figures. They don't even know what a Hot Toys is. And they're going to see a nice like replica of their favorite vehicle and they're going to buy that. And only, you see what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. That's why Arena Fett flew. That's why the DeLorean will fly. You know, that's what you need to have that insight.
I've used the DeLorean as a perfect example of my buddy Thomas, who I partnered up with when he made those 3D parts where he made like the train tracks. He is not a Hot Toys collector. He is a DeLorean fanatic, and he went down the rabbit hole of watching DeLorean videos and John DeLorean, and he ran into one of my videos. And then he reached out to me and I showed him my collection. He had no idea, but you're right. It's DeLorean. It's the fanatics who love DeLorean and the fanatics who love Back to the Future.
That thing is like the Ghostbusters fans are.
Yep. I follow Ghostbusters channel, and they were foaming at the lips for that Ecto-1 Afterlife. They don't collect anything else. It's the vehicle. It's having that large representation in your Ghostbusters shrine. It's having that large representation of the DeLorean. I'm a DeLorean fanatic, or folks who finally were able to afford to buy a DeLorean, it's coming back, to have that. And so I've always said that. Now, Western Doc Brown, Western Marty, they're probably going to sit for a while.
For a little.
A little, but don't
they'll
ever
eventually go. But
they'll eventually go.
It's not the popular of the trilogy, and you'd much rather have classic Back to the Future or Back to the Future 2. Like, I get it.
It's just one of those situations that, and we'll learn it. I mean, this is something that every quarter of the year it's different, and I'm trying to navigate it. I really am, and hopefully most of folks who've been following me since this whole ordeal, since last year, when I was running around as Chicken Little, are still within the game and haven't tapped out or disappeared or been pruned and are still hanging out there. And hopefully this Cold War between Hot Toys and these other companies, it doesn't get out of too out of control, because I think this is a situation where it's actually benefiting the collectors now, where it's Hot Toys being the big giant bear, and these other competitors poking at its side, trying to grab some of this market space. It's working.
It's totally working.
Yeah, I totally believe that's why we're getting a lot of this stuff here. And I still, for the record, don't believe Inart is going to deliver the products that they're decent.
We're going to have to see. I don't know.
I hope they do. I really, really hope they do. But what do you think of the recent release low batch? It's a mold of an older vehicle. That's a perfect example there that I've mentioned. That the Return of the Jedi speeder bike it's most likely gonna be a small batch compared
10-month turnaround, dude, for the announcement.
Yeah. You look at what the white version speeder bike, it's been going on, we're a year now, aren't we? A year on that. Yeah. Well, the
Return was $230, dude, overseas last week.
Yeah, that's right.
And it comes with the Scout Trooper.
Yeah, because vehicles are big giant volume pieces and so forth. It's not something that you may even get like the blue light warning. It could come very quickly. It could be you wake up and then it's on wait list or sold out. Now, I'm not trying to scare anybody. I don't have the Return. didn't pre-order it. I need to get it, but the problem is that I'm getting bombarded with older invoices now, and so it's just me trying to navigate it, but I'm not trying to spook this or anything. But yeah, absolutely keep an eye on this. I've said anything from 2020 and up that went into pre-order and is shipping in under a year, right, or even just a little over a year, keep an eye on it. This whole mentality that a lot of us are still thinking, oh, 2.5 years, or something like this. Like I think I heard a lot of, where is it? I heard a lot of chatter on this, Nabu, that it'll take, if it goes into pre-order for July, it'll be 2 to 3 years. Not necessarily.
No, dude, these aren't figures with sculpts and
Not-
dude, this is a mold that you go plop, 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 you print them out, you paint it up, it's out the door.
And worse, because of the higher sticker price, it could be seen as a lower batch. It could be something.
Yeah.
And that it'll come in.
Dude, vehicles, come on, man. They're not that intricate. Like when we were growing up, how many vehicles did we get? Not Hot Toys, but just, Kenner stuff or whatever, G.I. Joe shit. Like vehicles are, dude, they're not the same as a sculpted, articulated figure.
Never assume it. Never assume the vehicles operate in the same frequency as a 1/6 scale figure. They just don't.
Now Blitzway, perhaps not, right? Because they went like super hard on these Ecto-1s. Like they do a lot of.
They seem to, there's something about the Ecto-1 After Life that they've extended it. But again, don't keep your guard down, because the problem is that we saw that RT-AT, that little chicken walker from the Clone Wars, that's coming, I'm telling you. Yeah. Don't assume that was a Star Wars Celebration flex. Like, that was right next to the other figures. That was right next to the other clone troopers. It was next to this guy right here, the Phantom Menace droid Stap. It was next to C-3PO. It's weird, though. It's not in the summer showcase. So that could be the only prototype. So I wouldn't be surprised if they decided to just send it over to Sideshow to have it on display at Comic-Con. Typically, that would probably that could be just their only prototype. In fact, that'll be interesting to compare notes, though, because if we don't see C-3PO, R2-D2, they could just be trolling around with just one prototype of each character. So that'll be something that kind of a little bit of homework I'll keep an eye on, and I'll have the audience help me out here. What's being shown here that we've already seen at Star Wars Celebration, and versus what'll be new. Right. I'm also assuming we're going to get a surprise flex. I don't think Hot Toys is done.
San Diego Comic-Con is the biggest event.
Yeah,
and we've been cooped up. Again, as you said, they pay a lot of money for these booths.
They sure do.
There's a lot of exposure. They want to wow and pizzazz people, right? It's an advertisement for 4 days. I mean, that's, to a very, very large audience that 90% of them won't even know what Hot Toys is. So, they can give potential new clients, new customers,
Absolutely. And for folks joining in, like, subscribe. I'm going to be doing live coverage from San Diego. I've done live streams off of the exhibitor floor, and their Wi-Fi is top notch. AT&T typically will set up cell towers even outside. The Wi-Fi connection is phenomenal. It typically will come in crystal clear. So I'll be there preview night. I'll be there Thursday. I'll be there Friday. Anything that changes, I'll try to do my darnest to cover it. I'm going to be ending the stream now. Find me and Anthony. Here we go. So Anthony, are you solid? I'll be be hanging out over with Anthony on his channel. Here he goes. There's 6 Scale Mafia. There's his tag right there. And we'll talk a little bit more about it, because I can be here all night, but fortunately I do work on the weekends, and I did want to just honestly just reach out and just tell you folks out there, Specifically, though, this guy's coming, and if you're still in denial that we're getting this Vulture, and you're still convinced that Toys Era or Eternal Toys are jazzing, this is going to be it, man. I'm telling you, this is going to be it. This is going to be. They're not fucking around anymore.
This is coming, man. Like
this is coming, and I'm going to tell you right now, when this thing goes into pre-order, and all the folks that are still back in the So-So Toys and the Eternal Toys, it's going to be one of the
Odin's treasures.
Fake. Most of the stuff in here is fake. Weak. Smaller than I thought it would be.
I love that. I love the fake. Yeah, I love it. Anthony, what are we going to talk about tomorrow? Are we going to have some fun tomorrow on your channel? What are we going to?
So I was thinking about actually talking about kind of more relaxed conversation about what do you want to see at San Diego? What do you want to see from Hot Toys? Like, just kind of casual, just kind of talk, nothing. I don't want to be the oh gosh, we're doing the pre-order, just because the event's coming. So it's like kind of like a pre-game. What do you guys want to see?
Yeah.
What do you think? That kind of stuff. Just kind of, kick back, have a good Saturday night type situation.
Yeah, we'll have a blast. Thank you. Thank you, Theodore. Thank you, folks, for joining in. Make sure to follow Anthony. I'll be on there tomorrow. I'll probably be crashing 7 p.m. ish, and this is exciting. This is the return of the huge event. Sandy, I'm excited. It's been it was 2019. I don't even count the special edition event they had last year, which is November. I thought that was a joke, but I still had to attend because I didn't want to lose my badge privilege. So I still trekked out there. They made it very clear that if I don't keep my badge activated, I get kicked out of the line. And so it's all about being grandfathered in. But this time, though, it's going to be fun. It's going to be, I think, if anything, it's going to be scary on the wallet.
Oh, yeah. Well, listen, there's things that you probably want to pick up, not just Hot Toys over there. Special exclusives that are going to have, things like that. You know what I mean? Like there's stuff that you want to capitalize on. And
thank you, folks. Thank you. And I love the milkshake.